let's go ahead and get started. Roll call. Present. Present. Present.
Here.
Here. Okay. Y'all will stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Now the invocation, Mr. Garcia.
Mr. Mayor, City Manager, Commissioners, and staff, on behalf of the Ministerial Alliance, I truly want to thank you for the privilege to come and to pray with you tonight. I would ask you at this time if all of us would just bow our head in reverence to the Lord and pray with me. Father God, we thank you for this day that you've given us. Father God, I thank you for the privilege to come and to pray for our mayor, our commissioners, our city manager, Mr. Bernardo, and Father God, I think of all the employees. Tonight we pray for them, and Father God, at least I think of our police, our law enforcement. Father God, we hold up our first responders and our fire department. Tonight, Lord, I pray for each commissioner tonight, for support and for wisdom, for reassurance and the safety, as they all work together to accomplish their duties in serving our city and each resident of our community. Father God, I thank you for the sense of servitude that each one has in serving our city. And Father God, tonight I pray for reassurance, for safety. And I pray, Lord, tonight, Lord, for support from each one of us, Lord. I pray, Father God, that they would seek your wisdom in the hard decisions that they have to make. And Father God, once again, I thank you, Lord, for those that serve and have a censure of servitude, Lord, and to make our place a better place to live in. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you. Brad. Okay, item number one tonight. First of all, thank you all for coming. It's always nice to see a lot of folks here, so appreciate everybody's attendance. Item number one, awards, proclamations, and presentations. So I know we have a presentation from Epic Touch.
Good evening. Thank you for having us tonight. My name is Becky Scott, and this is Becky Richardson, and we are with Epic Touch Company, and we wanted to come and follow up and let you know that on May the 20th, Governor Kelly announced that there were 11 recipients of the Year 2 Broadband Acceleration Grant, and we are very excited to report out of the 36 proposals, our project is the recipient of a 50% matching grant from the state of Kansas. We feel that the importance placed on broadband by the City of Liberal and Seward County was a big part of what made our application successful. This partnership will allow us to bring fast, reliable broadband internet access to over 1,000 locations in Liberal. As you can see by the map that we've provided you, our service area for this build covers from 15th Street to 8th Street and from Western to Kansas Avenue and then south along Kansas Avenue to the railroad tracks. We just wanted to stop and take a minute and tell you how much we appreciate your support and that we're very thankful for this relationship to help work together to continue meeting the broadband needs in Liberal. So thank you very much. Do you have any questions or anything that we need to address?
I will add that this build is an 18-month build to build. These doing the fiber underground like we do, it does take some time, but the state of Kansas has allowed 18 months and it has to be completed in that time frame. and that clock did start ticking in May. Our contractors are due to be here in Liberal mid-August, and we'll get started. It's a very large build, passing over 1,000 structures, so there is going to be a lot of construction and a lot of stuff happening. And the contractors, they were so excited because they loved being in Liberal last year, so they were like, yay, call the hotel, tell them we're coming back. So anyway, just going to thank you again for everything that you've done for us, and we appreciate it. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. We do have an office here, and we're located at 150 Plaza Drive. So if you ever do need anything or need us to, visit about any of the project, we'd be glad to. Thank you.
And thank you for dinner.
Thank you. Yes, you're welcome.
Thank you for dinner.
Take yours. Go, boss.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Mayor, Commission, tonight we have the distinct pleasure to recognize the promotion of two of our professional law enforcement officers. So a few years ago, because of some budget constraints and some other things, we had to eliminate some positions within the police department. And, we talked before about the initial review that I was going to do and the 60-day scrub. And what we found during that time is we needed more direct leadership and oversight within our department. Because what happened was that when our captains went away, the burden on the lieutenants became pretty great. And then they had to pass some of that down to the sergeants and on down to the patrolmen. So there was some loss of effectiveness. So with this move, we get to restore the professionalism and leadership back at the top of the command staff for Chief Cutshaw and Deputy Chief Head. So I'm very proud of these two, and I'll let Chief Cutshaw take it from there.
Well, so first of all, I don't always promote the highest of all from that but they just have to be. First I'd like to talk about Jeff. Jeff Wade has been with the police department for 20 years. And I've been a cop for 32 years, and this is by far the best patrol person I ever ran across. Everything about him is just perfect. So we're going to promote him from lieutenant to captain. And then second, I'd like to talk about Josh a little bit. Josh, we were partners in the investigation for a couple of years, and I got to know Josh on a one-on-one basis. Josh is, without a doubt, one of the top investigators I've ran across in 32 years as well, and I was proud to call him a partner. So we're going from lieutenant to captain for both of you. So I would like to present, you see we do this all the time.
Yeah.
Josh, can't take my food. Yeah. Josh, he doesn't have a Class A. These are presented to officers who are on the line guard. He hasn't been on the line guard yet, so if we do his badge, that way and prior to Christmas
You two get 30 seconds each. You know how promotions work. Thank the wife, thank the kids.
No worries.
All right, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, if you'll just kind of go up to the podium. This is our new Deputy City Clerk, Arlene Rosales. Did I say it right?
Rosales.
So, I know there was some confusion about the position we hired, the assistant to the city manager. That is not what we hired. We hired a deputy city clerk, which is a long-held position that we've had and one that had been empty since our previous one, I believe. She enlisted? She joined the Army? Yeah, she joined the Army. So, Arlena is the gatekeeper. She's, do not try to cross the threshold without her permission in City Hall, because she will chase after you.
They're building a wall around me.
She's my translator for the Enrique show.
I try.
You did a good job.
Thank you.
But we're very happy to have her on board. We wanted all of you to see her.
They told me they gave her a taser, so
It's hidden well.
I'll be calling.
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 2, approval of the agenda. We do have an amendment to the agenda. So we're going to add an item in between number 10 and number 11 for a change order for Second Street. So, anybody have any questions or comments on the agenda? All those in favor of the amended agenda? I guess we have to make a
I'll make a motion, we approve the amended agenda.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, item number 3 would be items from citizens. Do we have any citizens who would like to speak to the commission? All right, come forward. So while you're coming forward, I'll read this. Rules of the commission. Any citizen desiring to address the commission shall be recognized by the chair, advance to the podium, state his or her name and address in an audible tone for the record. Presentations shall be limited to 5 minutes unless extended by a vote of the majority of the commission. Commission does not hear matters involving litigation or city personnel. Commission does not take action on subjects not on the agenda unless unusual or hardship conditions exist. Citizens may address the commission on agenda items as they are brought to the floor. Yes, ma'am.
Do I get 5 minutes beyond that?
Yes. Go.
All right. Well, usually, I'm Rita Isaacs, 406 Princeton. Usually I'm here about the same things. Liberal used to be a wonderful place to live, beautiful streets. My neighborhood was cream of the crop. Had the park, elm, maple, trees, everything. It's a pile of trash. You've got Drights and Warner's, the park, and Franco and me. That's it. The rest, nobody cares. Right down the street, you've got 2 little single dwelling homes. I thought it used to be single dwelling in homes. Didn't have a place for apartments. No. You just drive in now. Nobody wants to drive or park at the street. 2 blocks north of me, on Calhoun, 2 little houses, 2 little driveways, 6 pickups. They used to think, oh, well, I'll just make a little drive. You just throw a little rock in there. They just drive up in there as close as they get to the front door. It's trashy. The house, catacorn across the street, has been vacant for years. Minnie Hogue used to live there over in Newhurst, took care of it. Beautiful place. Her son moved in. Things changed. Minnie died. Paul was there for a long time. He died several years ago. Now, I've had to call the city a couple times because of the weeds, 4 or 5. The neighbor across the street doesn't speak to me anymore because he was forced to clean his yard up. This house is empty. The windows are rotting out. I thought we had some type of a code. Nobody living there. It's been vacant for years. On Pershing and 2nd, years ago, they had a house. We have a drug problem in Liberal. Empty homes. Anybody can go in. Rotten windows go into the house. We got rid of that house over there on Pershing. It's still vacant. Nothing there, which is fine. We got a lot of children in our neighborhood, and I want to know why, with all the city people driving around, everybody knows, why is that house still in that condition with all those weeds, rotten windows where anybody can break in, and it's open? When are we going to start following our code system? This is the same thing I'm up here about most of the time with the codes. But I'd like to know when we're going to start doing something. We talk about beautifying Liberal. You've got your people coming in. It's horrible. When are you going to come in? I heard about this man that wanted to move to Liberal, was taken around. Said, I wouldn't live here. Trashy. It's about time Our code's got, if they're too busy, I don't know if it's true or not, that our code people are having to work down at the youth center. If that's the case, close it if you need, get their code people back out. Let's get Liberal back into the shape that it used to be and a source of pride. And I do want to say, Brad, that you guys are keeping that park up beautifully, and I do thank you.
Thank you, Rita. We appreciate your concerns. And I know, just as a note, we've made some changes in building department, and that person is over code enforcement, and I would expect to see some enhanced code enforcement to occur starting very soon. Anybody else? Items from groups. We have any groups that would like to speak to the commission? Persephone. Same rules apply.
I want to say good evening to our mayor, and our city manager, and our vice mayor. Happy birthday to you and all of our commissioners, our city staff, and all of our citizens, and congratulations to our officers. I stand before you tonight with a victory report. I came before you as an MLK team in the month of March and requesting flags to be flown for the 40th year of the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday becoming a bill and passed on the Senate floor in 1986. And you were gracious enough to allow us to fly the flags from January the 16th to January 13th to January 16th. And I'm working with a group that's going to help us mount those. You purchased a flag for us as show and tell. And as any good city or county budget, we account for all the dollars, all the cents that the citizens pay. And so I have a small check for you for the price of the flag, but I also want you to know, I want you to see the flag. And the big news for these flags, in case for MLK, as freedom continues to reign, this is the flag that Brad Beer said. Sorry, thank you. This is the flag.
No, it's upside down and backwards.
Right.
There we go.
Is this good?
Nope.
Is this
There
good?
we go.
There you
There
go.
we go.
Yay! So let freedom reign, and I'm so thankful to the city for trusting us enough and planting a seed of freedom. And because of your seed, and this flag has been show and tell, a generous donor has purchased all 40 flags for us. And so our dream continues, and we're just beginning. So I just want to say thank you. I do have a small check because we want to pay for the flag that the city purchased. And thank you for this opportunity, and thank you for believing in the MLK team as we continue to march for freedom and justice for all. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, item number 5, the consent agenda. All items are considered to be routine by the city commission and will be enacted as one motion. There will be no separate discussion on any of these items unless a commission member or citizen so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. So we've got several things, and I assume everybody's had a chance to go over the Convention and Tourism Board minutes, and then we have 7 airport leases. So
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as printed.
Second. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Questions or anything? All right, all those in favor? Okay, thank you very much. Item number 6, umbrella liability insurance. Al?
I'm Al Shank from Al Shank Insurance, representing Employers Mutual tonight. You may remember back in March when I came and talked to the commission about the renewal of the insurance package for the city, that one of the things that was asked was there any area that might need additional coverage. And Commissioner Laura requested that we provide an umbrella liability quote, which we did early last month to Mr. Ford, and I understand it's on your agenda tonight. We looked at an umbrella liability quote of $1 million and $2 million. This would supplement other liability coverages that the city has, including things like your directors and officers, your general liability, your auto, your workers' compensation, and your law enforcement liability. We already have $5 million on the airport liability. We do have $1 million liquor liability policy at the city golf course. The way probably best to increase it, if you saw fit, would be to just look at increasing the limit on that. It's relatively inexpensive. So one of the things that Employers Mutual, who is the insurance carrier for the city, did and updated is if you decided you wanted to do something with umbrella liability, they'd like to look at the policy to run from, if you decide to do it from at tonight's meeting as a for instance, from now to the end of next policy year, which is April 1st. So a prorated premium to do that with a $1 million liability policy would be $38,714 for the balance of the policy year. If you decided to do the same thing with a $2 million umbrella liability policy, it would be $58,072 for the balance of the year. So that's the information that I have tonight. Mr. Ford, I don't know if there are any comments that you have to make. I'll be glad to answer any questions that you might have.
Jose, you have any questions or any? You're our insurance guy.
Well, that's your insurance guy.
You're an insurance guy.
There you go.
Okay.
No, everything looks fine on that. Financially, I don't think we want to be in the position just yet to maybe accept these. Maybe we would take that, maybe increase a few different areas if we needed it. But with the budget we have, I don't recommend we accept any of these just yet.
Okay.
But it is good to have, and I think we recommend we continue to get quotes on a yearly basis.
Certainly.
So we can review those as they come along.
Okay.
Al, is there any current gaps that we have that this policy would help?
Other than just
mitigate?
adding an additional limit, not really. Not really. Your underlying coverages do a pretty good job of that.
So no additional risk if we don't?
It's true.
It's just to cover it for the worst case scenario, which is most insurance.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Commissioners.
Okay, item number 7 is healthcare brokerage firm presentations.
All right, so Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, the city has traditionally used just Chris, what exactly do we call Charles? They're a brokerage, but they only really shop our policy on the market. So what we looked at with USI and IMA was a much longer term, much more comprehensive strategic partner to help us not only with soliciting the healthcare coverage, but also to look at our longer term benefits planning. So each one of them are going to have 7 to 10 minutes to give their presentation to you. Typically, we would like to give you some time to chew on it before we ask for a decision, but because we're a September renewal, we need to get our data into their system, and it's a pretty comprehensive process for both of them, so we would be asking for action tonight. And then, USI.
Okay, well, we want to thank you very much for your time this evening and for this opportunity to present to you. I am Jennifer Elliott with USI. We're based in Wichita. This is Sally Tatro, and I have been in this insurance industry for about 28 years. I started in 1994 with a local carrier, a local Kansas health insurer, and then I got into the consulting role in 2010. And I was with a actually a national consulting firm for about 11 years before coming to USI. And the biggest reason I moved to USI was because they worked so much harder for the clients. They strategize, they think outside the box, they're using innovative solutions I'm not seeing other brokers out there utilizing. So I wanted to be a part of that. A little bit about me, I am grew up in Kansas. My family is from Kingman and Zenda, Kansas, if anyone knows where that is. I am married and I have 3 grown sons and enjoy spending time with my husband. We do running and do mountain climbing and things like that. Just a little bit about us.
And I'm Sally Tatro. I'm related to most of the other Tatros in Kansas, good or bad. I was born in Hayes. My parents are from Garden, and I live in Wichita now. And I worked for Blue Cross for about 14 years, and I've been on the consulting side for about 8 years. So that means I'm about 25 years, just kidding. I have a husband and a couple of kids that are grown and out of the house and like to do things that are probably a little bit dangerous. I broke my clavicle a few weeks ago, but I'm also an avid reader. And we'd love to share with you a few things about USI, and so we'll go ahead and get started.
Okay, thank you. USI actually stands for Understand, Service, and Innovate, and that's what our 8,500 employees nationally believe in and practice. Not all brokers are created equal, as you know. We go beyond polish to bring expertise and greater depth in actionable solutions. We want to show you that depth. Customer service, HR service is equally important.
We from USI are here to serve you. We're already in town every few weeks, and we know how to best facilitate, and we'll do our darndest to serve you.
Our network of employees that are dedicated to servicing the city of Liberal include us as your consultants, an account executive, as well as our plan administrator, underwriters and analysts that are on staff that provide automatic quarterly claims reviews, as well if you eventually go partially self-funded, they will be monthly. We have 25 employee benefit compliance attorneys on staff, HR resources through Mineral, employee communications with benefit guides, of course, Brain Sharks that are recorded video presentations for current and prospective employees, USI Benefit Resource Center, which also acts as a HIPAA-certified customer service center for anything related to employees' issues that they might have. The Benefits Resource Center is our employees. There's about 30 employees. They speak different languages, and they are there to work on your employees and your behalf as a liaison between you and the insurance companies, whether it be health, dental, vision. And they can also negotiate appeals and things like that with the carriers on your behalf.
So USI has solid relationships with all carriers A-rated or better according to AM Best rating, including Blue Cross. I myself have worked for the Blues for several years prior to consulting and maintain a healthy relationship. Further, I know better than most on how Blue Cross operations work, and Blue Cross can be tough, yet we've had much success in reducing rates while keeping benefits the same, thereby realizing goals set by our clients. It's important to vet carriers' network providers when considering alternative carriers, which we've already confirmed which work best for the Liberal area and which do not. We have a few references in our information provided. City of McPherson and Manhattan are also USI clients similar in size to Liberal. USI has implemented a partially self-funded programs for these cities with similar benefits. So far, we've saved several hundreds of thousands of dollars over the course of a few short years. And the savings comes from proper risk management, eliminating pharmacy spread pricing, and obtaining 100% of pharmacy rebates back to the cities, among other cost-saving initiatives, where in turn right now, those currently go to Blue Cross.
You all got something that looks like this with a little pie chart on it. This is our 1-minute underwriter, and it is created in our Omni system. which is, I call it, it's kind of like artificial intelligence. It's all of the best ideas within USI nationally into one database. So if you look at this, some of these programs are only attainable through USI, as USI maintains exclusivity with some of them. Examples of these programs would include incentivizing members to seek treatment with high-quality, lower-cost providers, proximal, pharmacy benefit managers with best clients contracts, high claims advocacy program, and captives for like-minded employers to achieve goals, just to name a few. And that would include other employer groups, so it would give you more protection when you did go partially self-funded. All of these things have percentages also with them. This is just depicting what percentage you would save off of the cost if you implemented whatever. Some of these are combinable, some of them are not, but this would give you an idea.
So there are many ways we help achieve savings. Keeping the same benefits and reducing rates is often the most requested as a first objective, yet know we can do much more. We plan long-term goals with clients and then set the timeline according to their own readiness to make incremental improvements. In other words, what solutions make the most sense to tackle first, and then let's plan the rest.
Also, there are a lot of association plans in Kansas with Blue Cross and Blue Shield as the insurer. As with anything, there's always pros and cons to those. Often association plans lock you in and out for 3 years. The employers and the associations can no longer get independent data, and the flexibility to make changes lies within the association board. The chance to change your program as an independent city is really gone in association. Your flexibility is also. Usually employers want to get into an association to lower their costs, but other employer groups that are in that association may have higher costs, which would drive your rates up quicker. The association member does not have control over other members' claims.
One might think we'll be better if our risk is spread in an association. However, the city is currently in a larger, better pool that includes all of Blue Cross's groups of 50 or more. That risk is better. Another way to put it right now is that the city has a few high claim members. Those high claim members affect your rates less now in the bigger pool than if you were included in a smaller municipality association pool, for example.
Properly managed partially self-funded plans will unequivocally save 5 to 10% of premiums, and that's before employing any of these claims-saving initiatives. According to an independent firm, Windsor Strategy Solutions, a group of 200, which is about your size, will experience a 73% chance of saving once you go partially self-funded over fully insured the first year that you're in. In 3 years of being partially self-funded, you would actually have an 85% chance of coming out better than being fully insured. And after 5 years, you would attain a 93% chance of coming out better. With partially self-funded, oftentimes the first step is easy with Blue Cross and Blue Shield parameters. We refer to this as self-funding light because there's still notable segments of profit that go to Blue Cross and Blue Shield that you do not see for yourselves. A step further would include unbundling, which would save more and provide flexibility, which we might take the pharmacy and look at a different pharmacy benefit manager or look at a different claims risk management team. As well, there's 100% certainty that pharmacy costs will be less, as 9% of overall costs of your group are wrapped up in the prescription rebates, which is now going back to Blue Cross because you're fully insured. If you're partially self-funded with Blue Cross, they would allow you 80% of those rebates that would go back to you, the city. If you were 100% partially self-funded with an unbundled program, you would attain 100%.
So we would be grateful to do what you're doing now, but know we have a lot more capabilities to go further. And we appreciate your listening to our insurance information and presentation. Please know that we have real solutions for the upcoming renewal. We can present as early as next week. We do this insurance all day, every day, and we want to do it for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rusty said we'd have 45 minutes to present. And so round 2, 3, and 4 are coming. So I'm Ryan Powell with IMA. I've been with IMA for 8 years, and I've been in the business for over 20. And my area of specialty in particular is employee benefits, and I work with a lot of our municipalities around Kansas.
And good evening, I'm Jayla Miller. I would be the account executive working with you if we were chosen as your consultant. I have been with IMA for around 8 years, and I specialize in the public sector case. My book of business is specifically focused on municipalities in the state of Kansas.
I mentioned prior to IMA.
Oh, and also prior to IMA, I did work at Sedgwick County, so I do know what it's like to be the employee going through open enrollment and wanting to maintain that rich benefit so that they can balance what's in their paycheck with what's coming out of their benefit spend. So I get that. Yep.
I'm Christy Powell. I've been with IMA 13 years, and I manage our Wichita team, and I also have the pleasure of working with the local employers here in Liberal.
We've got paper copies. I don't know if you want them or you just want to use your iPads.
If you want, we'll take them.
Okay. Let's do that.
We're reading like this.
Oh, yeah. Point of pass it down. Yeah, that isn't, I can tell you were reading there.
All right. So I'm just going to open up and touch on a little bit about IMA. We started back in 1974 out of Wichita, Kansas. We now have nearly 300 employees in our Wichita office, and we have offices across 13 different states and right around 2,000 employees. We do have over 150 groups with Blue Cross Blue Shield. I know Blues run the world out here. However, we have a lot of clients that are moving away because they want more creativity, more flexibility. I will say that if you flip to the next page, and on page 3, you'll see a snapshot of our public sector clients, and you'll see the first 5 are actually right here, either here or in the area. And I actually failed to put on Ford County, so my mistake.
And I am the account executive on most of these. So I know your area. I've done a lot of work out here. I know what's going on in the carrier and the network space, specifically here in Liberal.
We're actually actively moving several cases away from Blue Cross to a different self-funded chassis. So we've done the work on that already.
And I guess back to slide 2, the IMA public sector practice. We started working in public sector, years ago, and as we continue to grow in that space, we realized that we really needed a dedicated team that solely worked in this space. We feel like it's a differentiator for our clients. So that's what Jayla and her dedicated team do. So we're not working with a construction client and a healthcare client and a municipality client. We're really focused, tailoring that service team to your needs, and we feel like that's made a difference for the clients that we work with because we understand the nuances. And so as Jayla mentioned, she came from Sedgwick County. Jill Cooper on her team, who'd be your dedicated account manager for escalated claims, came from also Sedgwick County and City of Derby in an HR role, so very high level experience in the public sector space. So we did that intentionally. It's been a labor of love. We've worked years on it, but it's something that we're really proud of, and we want to make mention of that. You want to flip to next?
Yeah.
Or payment? Oh yeah, and then
You want to touch on that?
yeah, and then recently it has been a labor of love. We IMA has a division called Cornerstone that is a self-funded workers' compensation division, and they handle the payment program, which is the workers' compensation for cities and counties in Kansas. And payment has continuously came to IMA to say, what about health insurance? We need help with health insurance. Can you do something? And finally this year we did start an association health plan. We have 13 cities now. We keep adding them in. It is with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Kansas. We have sent your guys' group into underwriting. We don't have firm rates yet, but we have went ahead with Bruce's and Rusty's authorization to go ahead and get a quote with payment. We do have really tight provisions with underwriting, so you have to have some risk, loss ratio requirements to get into the pool, so it's not come one, come all. They made a point about the pools not always being the best option, and for IMA, it wouldn't be the only option for you. It would just be another market for us to consider for you guys. But it is something to mention because we have done quite a bit of work in that area. And just recently, I saw a smaller city similar to your size. I mean, it was substantial savings, just $250,000 annually. We don't have term limits. You don't have to stay in for 3 years. You can get out at your leisure. So it is, as you join the Cayman, you would have a seat on the board, so you have a say in the direction. Like I always tell the Cayman group, this is your program. We're your stewards on it. So I do think it's something that over time you guys should definitely look at. But I do think a broader conversation should be around going partially self-funded, starting with Blue Cross of Kansas, and that would be our recommendation, and Ryan will dig into that.
Yes, thank you. So on page 5, real quick, I did a kind of a current state of what's going on and maybe a potential future state. So, the current state, you're working with Charlesworth. I like him, I know him very well. But you're right, Rusty, it's just a different service model. You've got some rising costs, you're getting limited data back to justify why your costs are going up. You've got a self-funded renewal most recently, and the estimated rebates were roughly $175,000, which is expected to be 80% of your total rebates, and your admin is at $54.20. If you go to the right towards the bottom, there's some savings opportunities we've identified just right off the bat. So what we've realized when we're moving groups away from Blue Cross is we're doubling whatever rebate estimate you're actually getting. It's double in the open market. So we would estimate your savings there to be about $350,000. And then there'd be a reduction in admin because Blue Cross's admin is always high. So roughly a 30% reduction in admin on just some of your fixed costs. So substantial savings to be had. I would say based on the timing, you'll see that that's a year 2 recommendation. So what I would do, if I were you, is probably stay with Blue Cross, hire a consultant, whoever that may be, to help negotiate. You may have to make a couple minor plan tweaks to save or mitigate that increase. Definitely take a hard look at the ASO. And then we get that in place, and then we really get a strong strategy year 2 so that you're not shifting the plan on your employees within 60 days. That's a very quick turn. And in particular with UHC, we had a large group here. I think Rusty knows who the group is. We had a large group here that we worked with. We moved them to UHC because it was substantial savings. However, there were significant network issues with that. And so year 2, we moved them back to Blue Cross. The good news out of that, over that 2-year period, we saved the client $1.5 million. So very, very good. And did some coaching on some large claims. We got them on Medicare to help remove some of the high risk. So we're doing some very innovative things out here in your backyard.
The last thing I wanted to touch on is just our dedicated team. It is a little different in how we service business at IMA. So at other firms across the country, a lot of times Ryan and I would be your relationship manager. We'd also be helping you be your account executive, also maybe doing financial reporting. At IMA, we really purposely feel like each of those roles needs to be a separate person. And so all of the people behind Ryan and I, Jayla and her team, they're dedicated to this. They, again, back to that intentional, the team around government. And so I'll let Jayla just touch on the team here really quickly and talk about their roles and how they work for you guys.
Yeah, so you can think of me as the quarterback of your team. I would be leading both Nick, and we have Rachel Murray is another account manager we have. She works on substantial public sector business with us. To Christy's point, we are growing in this space, and so we are being very specific on the team members we are putting in this space as well. So I'm leading Nick and Rachel. Rachel would be more of your problem solver, your carrier liaison, somebody that can reach out and help solve claim issues for your employees, and then help with billing issues with any of your carriers. Whole list of other things she can do, open enrollment support, communications, anything that goes on a daily service kind of bucket would be Rachel. Nick Johnston is your analyst. He is a finance guy. He's a K-Stater. He is your numbers guy. All reporting, monthly reporting if you're partially self-funded, quarterly reporting if you are fully insured. He is running all of the reports that we do and coming out and presenting those to you. He knows the numbers. He'll dig into your data. And we will use your data then to put specific strategies in place. We're not going to throw the kitchen sink at you. We want to make data-informed decisions before we do anything. So that's really our team in a quick nutshell.
And just to add to the data real quick that Nick would use, all the raw claims data that Blue Cross has would funnel into our proprietary system. And that's where we create ad hoc reporting and actionable insights to really bring opportunities for savings to the table. And then in a nutshell, 8 and 9, 8 is going to tie back to our performance guarantee that we're offering. And so in page 8, you'll see that we've broken it up into 4 buckets: strategic, technical, consulting, compliance, and then service and communications and support. And so I'll touch on that here in just a quick second, because I know we're probably running short on time. On page 9, this is a great snapshot of our core services. So in a given year, these are all the things that we do for our clients, from underwriting, we've got mineral, custom communications, vendor partner services, compliance, and the list goes on and on. If you go to page 12, you'll see that there's a performance guarantee we're offering, and it ties back to that page I just touched on. So the 4 consulting pillars, strategy, technical, client service, and compliance, each making up 25% of the bucket. We're putting 100% of our fee at risk. So if we don't perform for you in these 4 buckets, you don't have to pay us. Any questions there? Really, that's it. We can do a 1-year contract, we can do a 3-year contract, so, just reach out to us and we can work those details out.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We have one question for either one. The Southwest Kansas Chamber Alliance should have been reaching out to one of you when we were working with our association health plan for all those. Which one was it? Did we reach out to both, or do any of you know? Yes. Okay.
And honestly, if you want to look at that, that's more than happy. It's a fairly young program, and so we've got some reservations on it. The reserves are being done accurately, or maybe to the level of where municipalities should be very conservative on reserving. And so I want to understand the plans of that program before we make a recommendation.
We've been approached by a client that is currently in that program that is having those exact same issues on kind of like, oh, we're halfway through and we've got major problems.
Right.
So maybe it's not something to be a strong competitor for you all right now. It seems a little bit unsure.
My take is as well, it is more specific to smaller employers. I actually had a more mid-sized, closer to 100, look at it. We quoted it a couple of years ago, and they would have flipped the pool just because of their size. And they were only around 75 lives at that point.
Right.
So that's just another caution there as well. With your size, I would not.
And so,
Chambers throughout Kansas too, and there may be levels of stability as well, and the variety that are out there. So that might explain some of that as well. I think it's worth looking at everything though.
would you guys be capable of creating a health association for, let's say, Seward County and all its taxing entities at one point? Do you think? Right. Yeah.
Several times, and we would love to engage in conversation
Because that's the thing, the hospital is also partially self-funding through Blue Cross, so that would be another of the entities that we could definitely bring in, so.
There's a lot of synergies that could be.
Yeah. Okay.
That may be getting a little bit ahead of where we need to go right now. Okay, so Chris and Rusty, I mean, I looked through this stuff for probably 30 or 45 minutes today. I'm sure you guys have spent a little bit more time. I really like to know what your thoughts are.
Here we go. Okay, so full disclosure, you know, they talked about the KMIT insurance pool, and Ellsworth was a charter member, so I spent a lot of time with IMA last year, Ryan and Christy, and they actually transitioned Ellsworth over to the KMIT plan and did our transition. So we do have a positive working history. So I see nothing wrong with USI. I like her Blue Cross experience. I think that'd be really helpful as we look to, especially when we move to the self-funding. But just based on my experience and with those three in particular, you know, I would recommend IMA as we move forward for this year. And also, the county gave them a glowing recommendation for the work that they're doing with them as well. So it's not just my word, it's kind of consensus within the county.
Yeah, I see we have two of the taxed entities already working with them.
How about fees? Is there a fee structure on this one? Or?
Yeah, I believe it was 30,000 for IMA and 25 for USI.
Okay. $30,000 with all the fees.
So, Chris, what are we getting? And I'm assuming that what we're getting from either company would be similar, that we're not getting with Charlesworth now.
Well, Charlesworth basically helps us with the marketing of our insurance renewal, and essentially that's we're having conversations with him in the past. I know that he was willing to do more, but that's all we asked him for, was assistance to renew. You know, and I know he throughout the year he would provide, you know, reports and kind of give us information to look at towards the renewal and you know, to help design I guess what some new plan options would be. He really helped us a lot when we converted to the national health care. That was, you know, we had a grandfather plan for quite some number of years, and then we finally went to I guess the standard plan. But I know he's been very helpful in the past. I haven't had the experience of working with him to the level that is being proposed tonight.
And it's a much different scope of work that he's done for us forever, I mean, than what we're looking at with either of these two entities. And I would not recommend, based on just the few $1,000s difference between what the service he's provided and the service they're going to provide, continuing with what we've done in the past. It's much more robust, yet a little more expensive, but I think the payoff is much greater to go with one of these two.
Yeah, reference-based pricing and all the different options that are available.
City, that's actually very reference-based pricing, and instead of going to significant amount of money, we have that pricing existence for 6 years. So we've got plans to do that, and that would be one of the things we would look at after we get through this. We believe we would do a lot of that based on all of those.
And we also have of full references prices or just those that are high premiums.
So I guess just for the public's reason, the reason I'm asking all these questions is because eventually we can get to a point where all of the taxing entities are brought together and we have the ability to facilitate that with both of these brokers, where all the funds get put in there basically as self-funding, and we can if we have a year where all those entities don't have any loss, well, major losses and there's enough surplus there, they don't have to take an increase. But it can stay local, and all of our entities, as well as this community, has the ability to guide the direction that those losses are going. So it's a completely different concept that's being created recently with the health association plans that they can administer, and with a lot of the other options. As well as if the hospital got involved and most of your employees are going to the local hospital, and the hospital is willing to accept the payment plan that these brokers have done, then the savings are just unheard of, and the model is unheard of. But that being said, we need to go ahead and pick one of these plans to move forward with now. And I don't know, I'll let you guys go ahead and go first.
Well, we were waiting on you.
Would you like me to make a recommendation? They both seem great, but I think I would also, for now, go with IMA.
Yeah, so we would need a motion to allow me to sign a one-year agreement with IMA to cover our brokerage services for healthcare.
Does anybody have any other opinions first?
No, I think I'm in agreement with that too, but I guess we can wait for a vote.
All right, then I make a motion, we authorize the city manager, Russell Renato, to sign a one-year agreement with MAA benefits. With IMA benefits, there we go.
Second? Sorry, I'm sorry. Okay, thank you, Jeanette. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Okay, thank you very much. And thank you for your presentations. We appreciate you coming out this far to see us. Item number 8, airline service recommendation.
All right, so Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, I promise the next 3 are going to go much faster. So, you've already seen this. We just need you to officially decline the 2 8-seat aircraft proposals and approve the letter that Brian will send to DOT with our, with the recommendation.
Yeah, and I, for me, that's a no-brainer. And from what I understand, talking with Brian, the situation has improved slightly
Yes,
with SkyWest.
We actually flew out 813 people in May, so that's the most we've ever done for May ever. So, and it's the numbers. I know the first 3 days of June we flew out over 100 also. So the 2 airlines that we got the proposals from couldn't even meet that. So they'd have to make multiple trips, multiple times a day. So.
Do you have any questions on the letter? Do we need them to officially take action to decline, or?
Consensus?
I mean, it's in the letter that we're declining, so.
I would just, a consensus to have Mayor Parsons sign off on the letter as presented. It's in the packet. Maybe we give her a motion to approve him to give him the authority to sign off on the letter that's in the packet would be sufficient. Do they want to make that motion?
I'll make a motion that we allow Mayor Parsons to sign off on the letter in the packet. You want more defined than what the letter's about?
That'll be fine. I think we all know what we're.
You know which one we're talking about, right?
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Warren and a second from Commissioner Vasquez. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? All those opposed? Okay, thank you very much.
And we still do go out for bid in August anyway.
So, yeah, so nothing's really, yeah.
So nothing's.
Okay, item number 9, patrol car purchase.
All right, so, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, at the next meeting, we're gonna talk a lot more about the employment of the ARPA funds, but, the next 2 items were kind of immediate need, short notice items. So Captain Wade is gonna come up and, cover the, patrol car purchase. So this will be an ARPA expense.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'll give each of you two of the vehicles that we're requesting to purchase from the Kansas Highway Patrol. We usually buy 2 cars a year. 2020, we were not allowed, we couldn't buy it because of monetary issues because of COVID. Last year, we bought 2 vehicles. This year, we are requesting to buy an additional 2. We are currently 3 vehicles short of what we normally run. 2 vehicles have had to be taken off the line, and 1 has been moved over to code enforcement itself for patrol. The 2 vehicles in KHP are used. They do have under 50,000 miles. To tell you how hard it is to get vehicles, we were 85th in line for departments in the state of Kansas. Luckily, we did not care what color, so we kind of got bumped up. Sometimes it pays not to be too picky. It is $59,200 for both, but they do come fully equipped with lights, siren box, and a rifle rack with each vehicle. The only thing that we would have to put in is a radio, which we already have in stock, radars, NVTs, and the mounts itself. This money would come out of both our equipment fund and our vehicle fund. Our vehicle fund, no.
These are ARPA purchases, ARPA funds, so that's how it's getting paid for. It's not coming out of your budget.
Okay. They're coming out of that budget?
Yep.
So, we are requesting that you would approve that we purchase these. Once we get approval and we get a purchase order, we'll be able to get back with KHP and be able to go to Topeka and pick them up.
So I'll tell you that Ellsworth bought one of these vehicles, and Chief Cutshaw and I called the chief last week, and they're having great results with it. So I was a little worried, we're buying used KHP vehicles, but there's been no issue whatsoever. And
We bought 2 cars
Last year we bought 2 Chargers.
Yeah.
And one thing I can say about KHP is they do take very good care of their vehicles, both cosmetically and mechanically.
And these are kind of nice, these are all-wheel drive, and we don't have a lot of 4-wheel drive or all-wheel drive in our.
Well, our Fords are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ford Explorers are.
You know how important it is to have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because when it snows here, it's usually a lot.
Yeah.
Were these items previously budgeted?
Well, we don't have an ARPA budget yet.
No. From the vehicle funds.
Yeah, they were in the, like you said, from the equipment funds, so. We'll be able to spare that money and probably roll it over, or with some of the other stuff that they need, kind of slide it in that direction. But, these 2 were on hold for us, so which is why we had to kind of accelerate it and not wait till the 28th to present the whole equipment
Somebody else is
package.
gonna take them if we don't, right?
Yes.
You know, we're the 85th agency, who knows how
Yeah.
many cars we have.
I've talked to Larry at KHP, and he's like, we had 2 great. He's like, hey, I got some more cars. Would you take white? I said, absolutely. We just need 2, please.
Okay. So we need a motion to allow the police department to buy these 2 vehicles from the KHP with the ARPA funds.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion for Commissioner Warren and a second for Commissioner Lara. Any further discussion or questions for Captain Wade? All right, all those in favor? Opposed? Okay, 4-1. Thank you very much. Thank you, Jeff. Okay, item number 10, ARPA Cybersecurity Upgrade Project.
So, 2 Fridays ago, the city of Ellsworth was hit with a ransom attack and has been locked out of all their data for the last 10 days. That happened when I was in Kiowa, hopefully it's not a trend, but it happened when I was in Kiowa, it happened when I was in Ellsworth. And in this day and age, we have to get harder with our securities, we have to get more complex with our strategies, and everybody and just about every building is using some kind of wireless connection, so the hardware that is put together kind of fits all those needs.
Commissioners, Mayor, City Manager. Before you, I put together a proposal that outlines a pretty in-depth replacement strategy for upgrading all of our existing firewalls, switches, access points, anything that would fit in the cybersecurity realm. Proposal pretty much outlines everything that we would think about replacing. It lists the facilities that we're going to replace them in, and it outlines the costs of everything. Currently, the city employs about 26 different facilities. It has either a pretty significant or complex network, from a single firewall to multiple access points, or or anything anything above that. Most of the switches that we looked at replacing, we replaced last year when we did the phone project, moving to voice over IP. There were some lingering switches out there that did not get upgraded just because they were replaced not only just a few years prior to that. Page 4, I've got kind of a spreadsheet that breaks down what the existing device is, current model number of that device, and what the individual device cost would be, how many of those devices would be needed, whether it was a switch, a rack, access point. If you look on the spreadsheet, AP stands for access point. That's just a wireless point. I was going to bring an example of it because sometimes it's like, okay, what am I talking about here? But I've also summarized exactly what each group of components would cost and what the overall projected project cost would be. I sought quotes from 5 different vendors for all of the components. This project's an apples to apples comparison, so it's pretty easy to decide on which vendor to kind of go with. However, there was one kind of hitch in this. The switches were only available by the manufacturer. So all of the distributors either had partial inventory or they had none of the inventory. So my recommendation was to go with the manufacturer to purchase them from, just because it was the only available spot to buy them from. The other components were, quote requests were sent out to CDWG, SHI, and Connection. It used to be Gov Connection way back in the day. And CDWG came in as the lowest bid for the firewalls, access points, and the racks that are needed to mount the switches in. The Ubiquity quote came in at $12,830.59. That includes shipping. And CDWG came in at $59,640.82. That includes shipping as well. As City Manager Barnado spoke, this is an ARPA-funded project, so these funds would be coming from that particular grant. And this project would not exceed $80,000.
Shipping time, what is that looking like right now?
Everything's in stock. So if we
Standard shipping then?
yeah, just I can probably have them here in a couple weeks or so if we can, if the distributors can get them here fast enough.
So what does this get us that we don't have now?
So essentially what it does is it updates us to the latest and greatest technology. Right now we've got some facilities that I'm not going to say it's bad tech, because it's not. It's just older tech. And cybersecurity is not something that you really want to play with. Like Rusty said, ransomware is a dangerous, awful thing. If you get hit with it, you better have a good backup plan. Because if you don't, you're either wiping the machine or you're paying the money. So, and it usually entails millions of dollars to larger corporations. I don't know what the exact figure was, but I know a few years ago, it was in the hundreds of millions of dollars annually that companies spend on recovery. So I would prefer not to make liberal an example. So in seeing that, staff recommends or requests commission consideration to approve the aforementioned project in the amount of $72,471.41, not to exceed total project cost of $80,000, paid for by utilizing ARPA grant funds.
And I had him requested not to exceed 80,000.
Yeah.
Shipping costs could change, this could vary
And
a few percent.
initially, when I did all of this, I was going off of numbers that we had just 2 months ago ordered some components for, and I got numbers back and I started sweating a little bit because I'm like, each one's about $300 more than what I originally thought, and I'm like, holy crap. But ultimately, technology costs have gone up, and the times, the wait times have gotten longer and longer. But
Do you have an estimate of how long this technology will work?
well, I mean, there's always an
Will it
end of
change?
life. I mean, there's always an end of life to components, especially when you're talking cybersecurity.
We should be good through
technology.
July.
I hope not. You know, 7, 8 years probably, I would venture to guess.
With the way technology advances, we probably want some of this stuff replaced within 2 to 3, maybe 5 years.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So,
So how much-
that's just something to.
How much better of security are we talking from what we have now to what we're adding to?
A lot of these.
50% better, 100% better?
I would-
You're gonna
I
give me a
would-
guarantee that nothing will happen in 3 months?
I can't get, a firewall is nothing but a deterrent.
Boy, I know.
So, I mean, it's how good, a lot of it has to do with how well we educate our people from the inside. You know, we employ a pretty sneaky way of training people. We send out emails to them and see if they can actually click on the stuff. And the reports we get back are kind of scary sometimes, because it's amazing how far deep somebody will actually get into an email, and before they actually submit something that's personal, whether it be password or just clicking on something simple. But ultimately, we want to prevent that. So I think we've done a pretty good job. I think the last time I got a report back from the way that we test people, I think only maybe 10 or 15 people actually
So
fell through the
to answer
gaps.
his question, we're thinking 20% better, 30% better? I know.
I would say
it's almost
50 to
impossible
75% better, because just of the age from when we purchased some of these devices to what we're getting now. Just the advancements in AI technology to be able to kind of prevent things from happening. But like I said before, a lot of the prevention comes from the inside too. So, anything else?
I'll make a motion that we approve the purchase of the cybersecurity upgrade project, not to exceed 80,000, using the City of Liberal ARPA funds.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion from Commissioner Warren, a second from Commissioner Vasquez. Any further questions for Tim or discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? Okay. Tim, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay, our item number 10.5, change order.
Good evening, Mayor and Vice Mayor and Commissioners. think you're just wanting kind of a brief description of what these line items are and why it's on a change order. The first one is additional saw cutting. In the original bid and contract, there was a amount and a total to saw cut what was gonna be removed. So you have a nice neat line whenever you're gonna go through and remove pavement or sidewalk or whatever. The reason there's an addition is because most of these happened at intersections, like the side streets, where like Calhoun or Roosevelt would come down and they tie into the new Second Street. And with the height difference, if we cut the joint back about, some joints are 5 foot, some of them are 10 foot back, then you have a more gradual slope for a tie-in down to Second Street. And so you're not pulling up to the stop sign and then having a big dip and coming back up on Second Street. Another pretty good size location for additional saw cutting was on both sides of Lewis Motors, in there where they used to have their cars presented. Originally in the contract, we had 5 foot off the asphalt for the saw cut. In doing that, a lot of the concrete that we were tying to was not good concrete. And I don't know if that's happened since when we first surveyed it 4 years ago, or if that's, if that was something that's just happened recently from cars driving over it. I don't know that answer, but what we've done is, instead of going 5 foot over, we went ahead and went 3 foot over, an additional 3, so we're adding 3 foot of pavement to get a better tie-in to the existing concrete. For the existing storm sewer at the manhole at Station 5920, this is the first manhole right at the intersection of Grant and Second Street. And it ended up being a fixed one-piece manhole. A lot of manholes come in barrels sections with a lid or a cone, and you can add or adjust or take away adjustment rings. This is a one-piece poured concrete manhole, and there's no adjustment in it. And so we needed to lower that manhole 3 inches to match the pavement. And so with this cost, it includes the new manhole and the install of the new manhole. The temporary surfacing for milling supplied by the City of Liberal. This is just an estimated quantity, and the estimated quantity now is 150 cubic yards. We have only used about 110 to date, but we went ahead and put some cushion in there in case, we need to do another wedge or something as we come over towards Kansas Avenue. Some other instances that we've had to install this is we had to install millings twice at Clay Street, once when we came down Clay, and then we had to keep Second Street opened. So we had a wedge in there, and then again, when we poured the intersection, we had to tie it so that we could keep Clay and Second Street intersection open. And then we also had to use it for wedges. In some areas, you have the new pavement and you have the existing road, and lots of times they're not equal. And so if that was a place where you had to cross over from the new to the old or the old to the new, you've got to have a transition. So we put a wedge in there so that you don't go off a 3-inch ledge. We've also had to put some millings when we were paving Clay. There was an elderly lady who had some health issues, so we put some temporary millings at her driveway so that she could actually have access to her house, so she didn't have to walk across the construction. And then we also had 3 entrances at Hornig Funeral Home to keep them open as we were tearing out the south side of Second Street. So we had one at well, we did half of the entrance of their parking lot while we had their main two entrances torn out. And then we poured one half of their parking lot entrance and kept them access with that while it cured. And then once we got that poured, then we had to transverse over and use these millings to open up their parking lot entrance. So just, all the temporary surfacing really is just to maintain traffic. And then for the flooding of the basement, this was at Heritage Realty. And back in April, when we got our first rain, it was an 1.25 inch rain. We had removals out, we had the sidewalk out, pavement out. We got the rain, and it found its way down to where the old sunken sidewalk used to be. And it put about a 1/4 inch of rain in their basement. So not Walters Morgan, but Volks Parga did all the cleanup to make Gary Clausen happy and satisfy all his needs, and so we're asking for payment for that. I know this change order is approximately $28,588. On a little happier note, when we came down Clay, we were going to remove both sides of the curb, east and the west. The west side of the curb was still very decent, so we left it in place even though we'd accounted for some money to be taken out, and that was $40,000. So at some point, we haven't reissued that money back into the contract yet, but at some point, we have that $40,000 reserve in there that will be refunded back. And same way with the temporary millings, we have a little cushion in there for 150 cubic yards. Right now, I said we're at 110. If we don't use all that, some of that will get reimbursed. Whatever we don't use will be reimbursed back to the city.
So I'm just curious, just because we've never been told, what is, and maybe Ron knows because you're the old holdover from the last commission, but what's the total project cost for this, for Second Street? I've never even been told
It
that.
was like 4.1 when we started, right?
The original contract was 4.154177.63. $4,154,177.63.
Okay, so
Then the storm drainage wasn't low enough to get to where we needed to go at Frog Pond, right? That's the big change order to start with? Was there a $400 and some thousand change order?
There was an existing sanitary sewer that
sewer,
nobody,
yeah.
it crosses, I think that's a pregnancy clinic now at the corner of Clay and
yeah.
Second. There was like a 12-inch sanitary sewer that crosses Clay Street that the city didn't know about, nobody knew about, it wasn't on any of the one calls, so nothing was marked. And so that was a big one because we had to build a special box to where we could leave that sewer in place and do our drainage through it, basically. That was the big one. Second big one was, not us, but the city had decided since we were doing half of Clay Street coming down, we'd pave the whole thing. And that was, I don't remember the cost, but it was.
I think that's where the 400.
That was the.
That's the one that, so where are we, about 4.8?
No, we were at 5.1.
5.1?
5.165.
Including today's change order?
Yes.
The original estimate was 5.7 though, wasn't it?
The original contract was 4.1.
No, I'm talking about engineer's estimate.
Yes, engineer's estimate was 4.7, and that was without
Oh,
doing.
it was 4.7? Okay.
Yeah, without
Without
doing.
Clay Street.
Without Clay, yes.
So, and where are we at time-wise?
That's what I was gonna ask.
I should have let you ask.
They are shooting for about the first or second week of August to be completely done and out. They've poured every day this week so far, about 400 to 500 yards a day.
And this wasn't only a street project, though, this was storm drainage.
Storm
project.
drains too, yes.
Storm drainage project, mostly.
So does that alleviate the problem? So we did a bunch of storm drain work at Clay, and Clay and Second has always been a flood zone. Does that take care of that?
Yes, that Second and Clay is about the lowest part in town.
We
It's
couldn't
like- it's
get
the
that
fishbowl.
water, yeah, we couldn't get that water to go uphill to Frog Pond, so this was the solution.
So, but that
So that
clears
was
that up.
solved
That
in
means-
the project.
So I remember they were digging up a while back, of course, this was before I was on here, they were digging up and putting in pipe. Then they sealed that, then they came back and started digging up clay, and then they came back and finished Second.
Right.
What process was happening there?
That was the storm sewer pipe.
Okay.
Yeah. It was 48-inch concrete pipe, which takes it takes a big machinery to install it, and it takes a long time to install it, especially with big inlets like that. So they wanted to get the biggest part out of the job, which was coming down Second Street, getting that mess taken care of, and then basically all that's going down southward, down Clay, is pipe. And then they've got a couple manholes so that the city can get in there. If we got a clog or something, they can get in there and clean it out. So the storm part was the first major part, yes.
So has all that work already been done?
Yes.
Okay.
The only thing that's not done, and that's why that half went so slow, was because of the storm sewer.
I'm talking all the change order items.
Oh, is this completely done?
Yes.
I can't answer that. I don't know.
So from a procedure perspective, those change orders need to come here before that work gets done, moving forward.
Oh, is the work done?
Yes.
Some of the salt cutting, yes, and the temporary surfacing, yes. But we had 90, if you look at the change order on the Excel sheet, we had 90. We already had approved 90 cubic yards on this sheet.
So they didn't get that sheet, or we didn't get that sheet.
Oh, you
We
did?
don't have any of that, no,
Okay.
that's why I was trying to listen to you.
Okay, sorry. Okay, well, on this sheet, it says previous quantity, this was the quantity already approved, previously approved for 90 cubic yards for $9,000. That's what they had used for like Hornig and maybe some wedges and probably the lady on Clay Street. But they have used, say, 20 more cubic yards without the approval.
To answer your question though, Rusty, because I think I know what you're getting at, is
They were in the package.
yeah.
But
Lately, it's, I mean, because of the transition, I think it's probably been a little bit.
It would be nice to actually have us approve them before they actually start doing them, because we could actually say, well, we don't really want to pay for that.
Right. And say like on the treatment plant, we've had change over there, but that's a federally funded project, so we have to get permission from KDHE before we can
Right.
do the work. So, yeah, I completely understand what you're saying. And a lot of it is kind of a time crunch too, because if you pull up in this manhole, say, you're wanting to pour that section of road next month, but you have to get that manhole in the ground. And of course, with shipping costs and cost of the inlet itself, it'd be nice if we could get it in front of you on a special meeting.
Yeah, and I'm completely fine with.
And
doing
each
that.
of these items, that's what I got wrote down.
Second.
Did I say it wrong?
Okay, so we have a motion from Commissioner Lindenbrocker, second from Jose. Okay.
Where's it coming from?
Any other questions?
Where's it coming from?
So
Chris.
this project is funded from.
No, not the motion, the money.
Right.
is-
One cent sales tax, right?
Correct.
Okay. So
From
from
street
the 1 cent
drainage,
sales tax.
capital improvement.
Yeah.
All those in favor? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 11, items from city staff. Anybody?
Does that include us?
Brian?
Wanted to bring something up about the airline. We did go back, I don't remember when, and signed a letter for them to reduce service. They are not going to be reducing service. They're going to keep staying with the 2 flights a day because of our numbers.
That's exciting.
Good.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's what I was alluding to when I said good news, because they told me that earlier. And that's good, because we flew in last night from Denver, and that plane was nearly full.
Yeah, it's been busy.
Yeah, so. Anybody else? Bradley?
I think we got a couple things.
Okay.
And what Rusty alluded to, we have a requisition for the wastewater treatment plant that is over the $10,000 limit. It's $11,000. It was done beforehand, and everything was already ordered. And I know, I don't care if it's on the loan or not, it still needs to be approved. So this will be approved by you guys from this point forward. Anything, even if it's on the loan for the plant, needs to be brought before you guys. I do got a couple of things. This weekend is the Juneteenth celebration in Huron Park, which they have a little bit going on Friday. Saturday's their big day, and then Sunday's quite a bit of stuff going on too. So if you get a chance, get out, go down there, see what's going on. National Night Out that the police department puts on annually will be a week from this Friday, the 24th, in Light Park. So.
Hopefully we have better weather.
Than last year?
Yeah.
It was only for 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah, but everything flew away.
And we've had, and I don't know if it was because of the inception of the Friday at the Fountain deal. So we've had people call us about reserving the fountain, they want to do this, that. We're kind of like, I don't know how to handle that, because you've got businesses on one side, got businesses on the other side, you have people who, residents are upstairs. Do we even want to get into that?
My recommendation is no. If they want to gather at the fountain, kind of gather at your own risk. If somebody's, they're having a barbecue, well.
No bands and barbecue grills and alcohol?
Correct, yeah. Of course, that is right outside my window, too.
Oh, I didn't think about that, yeah.
So I don't know, I think we should.
We have a,
They have to have at least a band with at least 4 amplifiers.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't,
all pointed
so we just
north.
tell people it's a first come, first served basis, because you've also got residents parking for all those people. You don't want to, I mean, you don't want those people to be put out by not being able to park when they get home.
Yeah, no organized events that aren't organized through the city anyway.
Well, but then.
No, I mean, I think
But
it's just
actually
first
going
come,
the other way.
if they want to, like,
Hang out.
yeah, if they want to organize their event and show up, they're kind of organizing at their own risk.
Okay.
Yeah.
They could show up and another organization be there, but.
So just leave it as a public space. And
Yeah.
Yes.
And we're not gonna tell you you
No
can't do it, but we're not gonna
reservations.
tell you you can't either.
Yeah,
It's
right.
First come, first served if you want to have.
You can't keep other people from walking through there either.
Yeah.
Right.
It's public space.
I agree.
That's all I.
Chris?
Just to let the commission know on our 2023 budget process is underway. We've been working on some things, having discussions. Department heads have been given their worksheets and, requested to make their request. We've also distributed the not-for-profit appropriation applications that were distributed on June 1st, and those are due by June 30th for any organizations. And traditionally in the past, I know we've always collected those and had a presentation time for the commission. This is something that we haven't really discussed yet, but I anticipate something very similar. So just a heads up to the commission that
What is that? Will you explain that?
So basically, any nonprofit organization can come to the city and request a funding application. And that's where they can anytime they're trying to get off the ground with a program or that sort, they can actually come to the city. And as long as it fits within the city's mission of what we're trying to do for public service, I guess, that we can justify that it fits within our mission, then sometimes we're able to allocate funds to them.
Oh, okay.
And, you know, those are, of course, are subject to commission discretion ultimately, and we do have some qualifications, you know, that the certain things that you can use monies for, the other things that you can't. You know, you're not supposed to use them for wages or capital items that could be sold, that type of thing, so. But
Like the, some of the items are like the BJ's, and the fireworks for the BJ's. There's a few other activities or whatever in the past. And I've actually heard it on the radio, I think, so. I think the last 2 years, we've had people say they didn't know they were due, right? If I've heard about it, because I hardly ever listen to the radio, are we saying that the deadline's the deadline this year? Or?
Yep. Well, that's the way the program is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when is the deadline?
The deadline is June the 30th.
Yeah.
At 5:30 p.m.
Okay, yes.
Because it has been announced, it's been announced,
We'll
I
say
think I've heard
5.
it on the radio. A couple times too.
And that's all I have.
Thank you, Chris. City managers report.
Hey, I think we've talked enough tonight. I appreciate sitting through. I don't like meetings to go more than an hour, hour and a half, so this one was a lot longer than we would like, so we'll work on some of those processes and try to get it more concise and get you better information so we can move this thing along a little better. But I'm very happy with the trajectory we're on. I'm getting great comments from the community. Everyone seems to be pretty happy with the direction that the 6 of us have kind of chosen to run in. And there's a lot of optimism and just about everywhere I go. We started doing the radio interviews and the print interviews, so we're getting our messaging out. So I'm very content with where we are, less than 30 days into this transition. That's it.
Okay, items from commissioners.
I'd like to congratulate the 2 new captains
Yeah.
tonight. Congratulate them and wish them luck in continuing here in Liberal, I hope. They've been here for a while. I'd like to welcome Rusty, I think, first public meeting, right?
Second.
You weren't here for the first one. Oh, you were here at that meeting?
You missed
We had a
it.
big party and everything.
For the first public meeting that you've had to put up with me and you made it through it, but I will say that if you take the average time of our meetings, they have increased since the 3 new commissioners have been here. So I'm going to blame it on them. And, but I know we've had a lot to deal with, and there's always new stuff to deal with. But welcome then, since I didn't get to welcome you. I was somewhere else having fun, I think. So, all right, I hope I was anyway. But, that's all I have.
Jose?
Mine will be quick. Just excited both that Epic Touch got their grants approved with the help of the city and the county. I think that's a good sign that the entities are beginning to work together, and I would just like to continue that. On that same note, I'm excited that we're going with a new system for the health benefits. There will be a lot of options to go forward with them, more than just standard health benefits, to where eventually we can try and probably capture some of that, if we have healthy staff, capture some of that and begin to at least maintain or reduce health costs during a period that prices are just going to continue to increase any other way. So this is a good first step to do that. And again, if we ever begin reaching out with the other entities, we could eventually work something where we can combine. And then lastly, I guess I should mention that I have put in my hat to run for state senate. And I have publicly said I will not be resigning from the city commission seat. I did hear an interview that was discussed that there would be conflicts of interest, but in my mind, if there was ever a vote at the state that benefited Seward County, then I would be doing my duty as a state senator. So if I help Liberal, if I help Seward County, or if I help Dodge, it is doing your duty as a state senator, and I think that's a big process that we need to be focusing on there. I think that's all I have. Again, I don't know if I did welcome you the last time. I think I said nothing, so welcome to your meetings and good job.
I'm next. I want to congratulate the 2 new captains, and then today is Flag Day. I always get excited about that because I was a government teacher, and I just feel like it's a symbol of our freedom, so I do want to thank all our veterans and all our military personnel, because without them it would not be possible. And then I do want to thank my fellow commissioners for agreeing to do the radio interviews, trying to get that communication out there. And just want to say thank you to everybody who shows up to our commission meetings. I know that we have had more participation, and I mean, I know our meeting was a little bit longer than expected today, but we do really appreciate your participation. That's it.
Chris? My turn, huh? Well, I got a whole list here. We're ready to go. We're going to stay till 8.
Oh, and happy birthday, Chris.
That's right. Oh, yeah. Yes, Flag Day has always been a special thing for me. It's my birthday. My dad actually, when I was born, said, "Liberal, put the flags out just for you." And I was like, because he didn't know it was Flag Day. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. But
you believed it?
Yeah, I believed it up until I was like 12 years old. I went, oh, it's Flag Day. Oh. So, but I'm really happy about having Epic Touch, working together with the county, contributing. It really brings everything together. That's what we should be doing with like your health coverage. So if we can bring everything together, it's going to be better. The police department, promoting within is always a better thing than bringing new people in and putting them in higher positions. It's always better to promote from what you already have and increase what you already got. I did vote no on 2 things today because they were coming out of the ARPA funds, and I feel that we should have had a meeting to discuss our ARPA funds before we actually start using them. And that's the only reason I voted no on them. It's nothing against the police department or Tim with security. I just wanted to let that out because I think we should actually be discussing what we're spending before these are emergency, we've got to do them now. So that's the only thing there. And it's warm outside. They chip sealed the roads. Please don't do donuts in the chip seal. I already got 4 of them in front of my house for some reason. So I don't know if they're trying to get me or what, but you know. So if you go down to Curtis, there's like 3 or 4 nice donuts. I don't know. There's a truck that likes going down that road. So, but be mindful. Chip seal's there for a reason. And, slow down before the stop sign would be good too, because sometimes you'll slide away. So that's all I got tonight.
Okay, I just have, other than the new captains, which I think is fantastic, and I'm excited for the department, for the city, and for those two well-deserved promotions. I think it's fantastic. The other thing I just want to mention, and I know Eli talked about it on the radio this morning, but there's going to be a housing summit on the 27th, which is a week from Monday. I don't know how many of us would like to participate, but I think it's a good opportunity to discuss with a pretty broad spectrum of folks in Liberal, probably, if not our most important problem. If not that, then right up, we're at the top of the list. So, I don't know, we need to take action accordingly or whatever. But that's a week. Yes. Okay, and I couldn't tell you that right now, honestly.
I would just identify that as a work session.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. We should make it a work session and invite all the entities, because we don't know if they'll have quorums.
I think they're all being invited.
Right,
Yeah.
but we don't know if they have quorums that'll show up,
yes.
so we need to leave it as an open work session for them as well.
So, thank you, Brad.
You have to have reservations to go to it, right?
I don't think, we'll just give you a call or, that's all I had. So item number 14 would be vouchers.
Make a motion that we approve the vouchers in the amount of $1,123,961.77.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Warren and a second from Commissioner Lara. Any questions, discussions? All those in favor? Thank you very much. We're adjourned. just found out I gotta go to a
I guess we should
softball game.
give
My granddaughter's